Let's watch this a little bit. Can I hear that through this? Overinflation, eroding living standards in Iran, causing protests. Gunshots and unrest were reported in multiple cities nationwide. So now this is a country with 90 million people. I don't know what percentage of the population this is. I don't know how widespread these things are. I'm not saying they're not. I just don't know.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me. John Soto, this is SotoCast. We're going to take a look at the Tim Dillon show that just came out. He's got a couple of hot takes. We're going to interject along the way and see what we all think. Let's take a listen.
We're also being fed. Now, listen, I'm not saying the Iranian regime is good and the people are unhappy with them. But I want you to think about it. Before every war that we've ever gone into, we are fed a media diet of people supposedly about to organically rise up and overthrow their government.
Now, granted, what you have to understand is when he released his video, this is prior to the Venezuelan operation. So listen to what he's saying now. He's talking about Iran in this scenario. This is prior to Venezuela. So just keep that in your mind when you're listening.
This is before every war. Before every war, they go, look at these people. They've been living under hellish conditions and they're ready to get rid of the government. And you're, at work and you're in the break room and you're eating a turkey on wheat. And because it's early January and you're trying to do the right thing, whatever that means. And you're eating your turkey on wheat. And maybe you're a gym teacher. You're a good person. And you're looking at the TV and they're playing people in Iran throwing Molotov cocktails or, burning cars. And you go, those people have had enough. They've had enough living under tyranny. You're sitting in the break room. You're sitting in the teacher's lounge in I don't know, Iowa. And you're like, these people have had enough. They've suffered long enough. And then you're like, and then the government goes, by the way, we're going to go rescue those people. And you go, awesome. Now, what rescuing means is a lot of those people are going to die. So that's what rescuing means. That's number one. And maybe it's worth it. I don't know. But number one, rescuing in American terms, let's bring out the dictionary. Rescuing means bombing people, and a lot of them are going to die. So that's the rescue. Rescuing in our country, we don't know how to rescue anyone unless we kill them. We only know how to rescue you if we're killing you. It's the only way we've ever tried to rescue anyone. And eventually, people go, I'm getting tired of being rescued. They just rescued my mother in front of me, and there's blood all over the living room. So what we do is we go over there and we do the rescuing. So much rescuing, and we end up killing a lot of the people that we happen to rescue. Well, then people start to go, this rescue doesn't feel too great. And none of these people that are protesting, by the way, I don't think a lot of them, maybe there's a small percentage of them that want this, but I don't think a lot of these people are clamoring for the United States and Israel to install a government here. I don't think a lot of people in Iran are clamoring for the United States and Israel to install a government. So Trump said we are locked and loaded and ready to go. Shortly after, Ali Laranjani, a former parliament speaker who serves as the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, alleged on the social media platform X that Israel and the U.S. were stoking the demonstrations. I don't believe it for a minute.
And this is where it gets very messy. It gets so fucking messy. Because what do you believe? What do you believe? What do you think? How do we ever get to a factual? If I think X is probably the best. It's probably the best way to do it as of right now. But you need local people on the ground. You need a lot of them, right? Because that local person is going to have a slant, is going to have a bias, is going to have an agenda. And so it just has to be the aggregate of people that are just trying to figure this out. Because anything and everything is propagandized, and it's all spun. Algorithms are out there, pumping us one way, pulling us in another way. What the hell do you believe? What do you believe? And again, this is pre-Venezuela, so obviously all we've been hearing of stories is the poverty level in Venezuela. They're eating dogs, like all of this horror story stuff just prior to them going in there and helping out. Now, that being said, there does seem to be a massive organic celebration in the aftermath of of Maduro being withdrawn, taken out of the country. So that definitely lends some credence into a lot of people are very happy that he's gone. It seems like what's happening in Iran, could that be fostered by Israel and the United States? Yeah, I guess it could be, to try to overthrow their government. It does also seem to be that they are pretty, a tyranny government there. But what does that mean coming from me sitting on the East Coast? I'm just consuming as much as I possibly can to get out of sometimes if you put in like incognito mode, you can kind of just scour and supposedly the algorithm isn't really targeting you or as much. There's a lot of like ground news. There's a lot of things that try to show you the bias and like where things are leaning and stuff like that. But you never really know. You never really know. Everything's so curated. And that's the point. What like should be like, that's why I think we just shouldn't get involved to begin with. That is my view. Let's just worry about us. If somebody wants to F with us, then we'll take it in. But we are extremely lucky in this country. One of the things we are luckiest about is that we have two oceans on either side of us, and the country to the north and to the south, they're not that big of a deal. I mean, Canada's not going to do shit. Mexico literally doesn't have a military. So as far as like, they are pouring shit in, so we have to stem that. But other than that, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. We don't have much of an issue in terms of like somebody trying to come over and invade us. So I would say we just got to mind our P's and Q's, get our house in fucking order first, get our shit together. And that's where we really need the focus to be on.
He offered no evidence to support the allegation, which Iranian officials have repeatedly made during the years of protests sweeping the country. By the way, there was an Iranian woman who was walking around without a hijab, and they put her in jail, or it was something. It was an acid attack or something, killed her. I don't know. And there were real protests. And I get it. I don't want to live in an Islamic theocracy. And yeah, the protests now in their sixth day have become the biggest in Iran since 2022, and the death of 22-year-old Maha Amini in police custody triggered nationwide demonstrations. However, the demonstrations have yet to be countrywide and have not been as intense. So when that girl was killed, I remember there were demonstrations in Beverly Hills. And I get it. Listen, I get it. I don't want to live in an Islamic theocracy at all, on any level. So I completely understand why people who do live in one do not want to live in one. And in fact, want the government who's using a perverted sense of religion to go around and essentially be a fascist government and kill people. I completely understand why people in Iran would not want to live under that government. How many of those people want to live in a U.S.-Israel puppet government? I don't know. And what do you do with the ones that don't want to live under a U.S.-Israel puppet government? Because there's like 90 million people in the country. What do you do with that country? When you knock out the leaders, what exactly do you do? How does this work? How do you play? By the way, everyone in our country hates each other. The two opposing factions in our government hate each other, okay? And we're a pretty fucking advanced superpower, and it's not working. It's not working here. It's very difficult to imagine how you would go to Iran and install an effective government when we barely have one here.
How amazing a point is that? And if that should not be the groundwork of just minding your own fucking business, we can barely do it. We're barely hanging on. And we're the world's superpower. And what are you gonna throw a couple of guys up there and it's not going to work. These things have to happen organically. And the problem is that with modern day society, we're able to see in real time the suffering of people as their cultures go through it, whatever that may be. A couple hundred years ago in this country, people would see how brutal it was, and they would think that this is terrible. That's what we have to go through as just humankind. And you cannot just go in and just say, you know what, we're going to change it. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're gonna get something that's worse for many people. Maybe a couple of people are better off, but overall, you can't do something like that. It doesn't work. You can't just go in there and say, "Here's a book, read it, and then you can run society." Excellent point. Excellent point.
It's barely working here. So what exactly would you do in Iran? And again, ears are open. I'm not trying to, shut down anybody's enthusiasm about this project that was hatched at the New Year's Eve party in Palm Beach. The New Year's Eve party in Palm Beach, okay, where this was hatched. And I know it's been hatched before that, but I'm not trying to dampen anyone's enthusiasm for this. I'm sure it's a great idea. Because these ideas always seem great. Because here's the bottom line. The bottom line is this. The Iranian government is bad. And you go, yeah. And I see these people on social media, and the people I don't dislike these people. And they're going, I want to visit Iran, and I can't. And I'm Iranian, and I can't go back to visit Iran because the government sucks. And I go, I feel bad. I'm sorry to hear that. That is unfortunate. And I am sorry. And then they go, the government is illegitimate. And you go, okay, all right. I mean, it is a government. I agree with you. It's not ideal by any means. Okay. And we need to, and we need, the Iranian people deserve to live in a free, open, and prosperous society. I agree with that. In theory, in principle, I'm allowed to agree with you in theory and principle. If someone came up to me and says, I deserve to be rich and hot and have a family that loves me, I would go to that person, I'd go, I agree with you. In theory, how are we getting there? How are we getting there? This is what no one ever asks. How are we, forget the pie in the sky, theories and all of that. How are we getting there? How are we getting to rich, hot family that loves you? I'm not against that. I don't think you'd find many people that were against the goal. What are we doing to get there?
This is why he is honestly, to this day, one of the best out there. You can disagree with him, but you have to love his style. I mean, he just gets these things across so well. I really would love one day, maybe one day, if I get famous enough, I can meet him. I just want to know, does he write these things down? I'm sure he has bullet points and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff seems very organic, but he's just so good. I mean, to get that point across in that fashion, funny, nobody's better. At this point right now, nobody's better than Tim. He's a political mind, extremely funny, and it makes these talking points click so much more effective when you hear something like that. That is the point. Okay, you're not entitled to these things. I'm not entitled to be, a 6'6" basketball player. And if I wanted to do that, you could say, "Oh, yeah, I wish you all the best." And can you help me do that? Well, how? How exactly? Are you going to need a lot of money from me? Are you going to need a surgery? How do we achieve these things is exactly the point that's never put forth. The ideas might be just, but the execution of them, that could be disastrous for many people, for generations.
I don't know what we're doing. It's a country of 90 million people, and I don't think a lot of them are really excited about a puppet government led by the United States and Israel. I'm sure some of them are. Some of them go, well, it's better than what we have now. Iran warns all U.S. bases and forces in the entire region will be legitimate targets after Trump vowed to protect anti-regime protesters. So here's what's going to happen. This spirals into World War III. For us. Because if we get bogged down in Iran, China's taking Taiwan. There's no way China's not taking Taiwan if we're bogged down in Iran. Why wouldn't they? They're taking, if we're busy in Iran, China's going, guess what? We're taking Taiwan. And then this is going to kick off some type of, China's Xi Jinping, friend of the show, issues unstoppable Taiwan invasion threat as World War III fears. All you need is a few things to pop off, and China will go grab Taiwan. while we're in Iran installing a government that hopefully 90 million people in Iran think is swell. Hopefully 90 million people in Iran think it's great, and all the influencers in America who can no longer go back to Iran, hopefully they are now free to travel. So in order to make influencers in America happy that want to go back to Iran, we engage in a full-scale invasion of Iran, boots on the ground, decapitation of the regime, a multi-year rebuilding process where our troops are sitting ducks for terrorists and other remnants of the regime that splinter off, blah, 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 blah. China goes and takes Taiwan, and Russia goes and swallows Ukraine while we're doing this, by the way. Most likely result, maybe not, could be wrong. Could be wrong about that, but it doesn't sound crazy.
Definitely does not sound crazy. He never does. He never does. This is why we have to mind our own business. This is why we have to get out of this game. And, you know, there are strong forces within the administration, within government, within private sector that are, you know, military industrial complex. All those years ago, we were warned. And it flourishes. It is thriving, and I don't know how we get out of this. I mean, if with the Venezuelan thing that just happened, I just mentioned that if we, it seems like as of right now, I'm gonna give the Trump administration a little bit of clearance, a little bit of ground, a little bit of space to breathe, because they bombed Iran. Wasn't happy about that, but he did what he said, in and out. No boots on the ground. Did the operation in Venezuela, in and out. I mean, I probably, it took me longer to cook dinner than it took them to go in and out of Venezuela. Okay, if this is going to be the new norm, that we do this rather than regime change wars, boots on the ground, I mean, I guess you have to say we're heading in the right direction. So, if you know, if they're just getting their beaks wet and doing the little bit that they want to do, and we're not getting bogged down into, you know, 2 decades long war / rebuilding / all this other nonsense that goes on. Like I said, at least then we're heading in the right direction. If we get bogged down in Iran, it is going to probably result in a World War III style. And a lot of what Tim is saying, unfortunately, will probably end up being true. I don't see that happening under the Trump administration. And I think that's because if in fact if the Venezuelan thing tells you anything, the way it seems like the administration is working is very targeted, very very quick actions. So if they were to take out the leader, whether it be through assassination or whatever, I mean, that would still be stupid, because then you're talking about a massive other uproar. You're just basically, you're throwing a bunch of gasoline, you're lighting the match, and you're just walking away, which I don't think is good either. Which is why these things cannot be solved simply. They probably cannot be solved at all, which is why we just need to mind our own fucking business. At least that's what I say. But let me know what you guys think. You think we should do a full-scale invasion of Iran, or if we should mind our own business, or what do you think we should do? Thank you so much for joining me. 6283 Talk is me on the X. Please watch the Tim Dillon Show every single Saturday. He's one of the best out there. I am John Soto. I'll see you again in the next video, guys. Take care.